Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW Dynamite features, of course, the number one contender for whoever will face Kenny Omega in Dynasty for the AEW International Championship. So, who will walk out as the winner? We'll just have to find out. Mercedes Moné defends her TBS title against Billy Stark. So, that's going to be a fun and interesting match to look at. And of course, the AEW World title is defended, of course, in a street fight. Will Cope finally dethrone Jon Moxley, or once again, Jon Moxley to prove that he's the king reigns supreme? And of course, the main event features, of course, Mega Bane versus Chris Statlander. As you know, Megan Bane has been making headways, putting the entire AEW women's locker room on notice. The real question is, what is Toni Storm going to do? We just have to wait and see. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, the latest House of Glory show, City of Dreamz. This one features, of course, the Crown Jewel Championship. Donovan Dijakovic challenges for the belt against Zilla Fatu. And then, of course, we have Mercedes Moné taking on Indy Hartwell. But the main event is the House of Glory tag team belts in a versus career match. If the main event does not win, they have to split up. They're facing against the cold-blooded killers to prove their point one way or the other. So we'll see how that rolls up. And then, of course, we cap up our episode, as always, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead It Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling views from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. It's time to beam me up, Scotty. So let's begin with our first review, and this is from New York City promotion, House of Glory. All right, House of Glory, City of Dreamz. This recently took place, I believe, this past Saturday in New York City. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, you probably ask yourselves, what is House of Glory? This is a promotion officially started with the Amazing Red. Those who've been fans of the pro wrestling in general, you know who he is. He is the West Coast version of Rey Mysterio. He doesn't wear a mask, in case anybody asks. But he has worn a mask before in the past, but a different character type. But as you know, Rey Mysterio has the 619, while Red has the 718, which is the area code to Brooklyn. However, they do have a wrestling school. Many of their star wrestlers actually came from there. One of them, of course, is former AEW Tag Team Champions Private Party, and that's how they were able to get involved. Now, this latest event just took place this past Saturday on March 15th, and it opened up with the House of Glory Crown Jewel Championship. Zilla Fatu defends it against someone you guys know, Donovan Dijak, or as you knew him back in NXT as Dominik Dijakovic, or just simply Dijak. Well, you probably think this match was going to be a brutal match. It kind of did. I mean, Dijak did everything humanly possible to take down Zilla Fatu. Fatu, who is, of course, a fighter, wouldn't stay down until he applied the Samoan spike, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the belt. Now, our next match, we have Sweet Cheeks Zoe Silver taking on Jay Bojan. Now, much of this match, I wasn't too sure what they were going to go in this one, to be honest with you. I mean, I know Jay Bojan, some of you may have seen him in MLW before in other promotions, but Joey Silver, he seems like he was the fan favorite in this match. But however, at some point when Bojan could not capitalize on the win like he would have hoped for, he decided to antagonize um, Joey Silver when he destroyed his candies that he had in the bag, like giving out to fans, and of course pissed him off. But at the same time, it cost Sweet Cheeks his match because he could not oblige the ref's commands. When they'll give you a 5 count if you don't back away from your opponent. Well, he refused to do that. He pushed the ref, and the ref had no choice but to call the match into disqualification, giving Bojan the opportunity to win. And of course, Bojan was all happy that knowing that his antagonizing ways fit in. But sooner or later, I wouldn't be surprised if Sweet Cheeks get his revenge on him for that. Now, our next match, we have Mantequilla taking on, of course, he's very nice, very evil, and of course, a bit odd, Danhausen. Yep, Danhausen, he is making his presence. But however, much of this match, Danhausen tried to be a bit more clever, to try to outmaneuver Mantequilla, but Mantequilla knows exactly what he's getting himself to. Some of you may question, did he get the teeth? Well, to be honest with you, he did, and I think some of you probably, I missed it. Yep, he did. But however, it was Mantequilla that walked away with the win. When he almost lost this one, he applied a sunset flip on Danhausen, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Mantequilla wins. Now, our next match, we have Jody Aura teaming up with a guy named Darren Richardson. Now, Darren Richardson had issues towards the Amazing Red for quite some time and disrespected him. So he called out for an open challenge against any team. Well, he had to face one of Amazing Red's former students, and we're talking about that's right, Private Party. So Aura's like saying, "Are you stupid? Why did you have to do that?" So basically, Private Party showed up. Now, of course, I don't think either Richardson or Aura expect they have to deal with one of the most recognizable tag teams in both House of Glory and AEW. So that it put them in that unease. But of course, you would see a good match when you see it. I mean, of course, both of them tried to outdo each other, but it was Mark Quinn who actually picked up the win when he applied a 630 on Aura, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Private Party wins the match. But of course, because they're back home with House of Glory, you cannot end it like that without having a promo telling the fans, we're home. So basically, you know how that is. They're emotional knowing that this is where it all started for them, and from there on they move forward. Now, our next match is our only women's match, Indy Hartwell versus Mercedes Moné. I think some of you probably would think, man, I wish I would have seen it. I mean, 2 former WWE superstars in this one. Ironically is this, Mercedes Moné is succeeding in AEW, even though some people probably will say she shouldn't be there. I understand that. I'm just putting it out there. And of course, Indy Hartwell, not too long ago, she just won her first championship in post WWE in Australia. So it was a very interesting match, but man, the match was great. I mean, these ladies pushed to their absolute limit. I mean, you can tell that Indi Haruo thought she outdoed Mercedes Moné. Mercedes thought the same thing. So back and forth, back and forth. Of course, Mercedes tried to apply the statement maker, the money maker, but finally, when she applied a one last time for a statement maker, well, of course, Indy Hartwell had no choice but to tap, and just like that, Mercedes Moné walked away with the win. Now, our next match is for the House of Glory tag team belts in a title versus career match. Two out of three falls. The main event, Midas Black and Jay Lyons take on the Cold Blooded Killers. I forgot their names, but they're good friends with Nolo Kitana. Now, of course, main event has been one of the most fun-loving tag team in House of Glory. However, things have not been going on well for them for over a year, almost a year, ever since losing the tag belts, and now it's like they're trying to reclaim it, and now they're putting themselves in a position. Now, the first fall went into, of course, Cold Blooded Killers, but however, things near the second fall main event won due to the fact that one of the guys from Cold Blooded Killers was injured in the process, so they had to carry him out. So Nolo Kitano actually showed up to take his place to continue the match because he's determined to end the main event once and for all. However, Nolo Kitano messed up when he spit red mist into the eyes of his partner. Well, that cost him too. But not only that, they decided to handcuff him. But one thing that was crazy is Midas Black. He is the craziest SOB I've ever seen in my life. He jumped off the damn corner buckle to land on the on one of the guys from the Cold Blooded Killers, hurting himself in the process too. But however, they were able to pick up the win on Nolo Kitano, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they gained the belt. And not only that, they are still together. Midas Black, who refuses to stay down, he refuses to let main event fall apart in this way. He refuses to let it happen. So you probably ask yourselves, Nolo Kitano and the Cold Blooded Killers must have underestimated Midas Black for the last time. So we'll see what the future holds for main event. But I have to say, it was a pretty good tag team. I enjoyed. So that's pretty much it what we have for House of Glory. So let's just move on with the next review, and I think this is our last one, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Well, it opened up with a number one contendership in a four-way for the AEW International Championship. So whoever walks out as the winner will face Kenny Omega at Dynasty. So we have Orange Cassidy versus Mike Bailey versus Mark Davis versus Ricochet. Now, of course, we have seen Ricochet, the ever so opportunist since he first later arrived in AEW. Well, he will stop at nothing to get what he wants. However, of course, you cannot underestimate Mike Bailey with his abilities. But there was a great moment where, of course, you all know Orange Cassidy's mindset, how it works. He does things at his own pace. But the one thing I think Mike Bailey should have known, not to underestimate him. I mean, as good as Bailey he is, he should not underestimate him. But unfortunately, this match didn't go for turn into a little twist of turn on this one because Mike Bailey had Mark Davis right where he wanted him when he pinned him in the how to say in the landslide, but Ricochet was able to pin himself by using the ropes. So the Ricochet thought in his own perspective that he won. But however, Rice Brinsberg, the referee, kind of noted that this match ended in a double pin by both men, both Ricochet and Bailey. Now, of course, I don't think Ricochet's like probably saying, no, this is BS. It should have been me. I'm the winner. Oh, well, too bad, pal. You should have known better. You should have broken up the pinfall, but you didn't. So I have to say, that was his mistake. So basically, it's a three-way match for the AEW International Championship. Now, our next match, we have the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné taking on Billy Starks. Now, the real question is, can Billy Starks dethrone the Money Train? Stop the Money Train once and for all. I mean, she put up a hell of a fight no matter what came in her way. I mean, we know how talented Billy Starks really is. I mean, for someone of her age, starting out very young as a wrestler. And she was able to pull it off, but unfortunately, she made a big mistake by applying a swanton on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, onto Mercedes Moné. But that gave Mercedes Moné opportunity to use it as to turn it into a crucifix, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during a later on in a interview with Renee Paquette, she saw that she likes what Billy Starks can do. But however, she questioned who trained her. So I wouldn't be surprised if her trainer shows up, a Billy Starks trainer, and criticizes her. So we'll see what happens. Now, as you probably can guess, as you know, everybody wants to become the AEW World Champion. MJF in particular is the one who is determined. However, of course, he doesn't think like people like Cope who could win it or Will Ospreay. So he feels that he needs to be the one to, how of course, to regain that belt, and the only way he's gonna do that is by doing what Will Ospreay mentioned a week ago, is to enter the Owen Hart tournament. Now it's still unofficial who will enter. We know people put their names on the hat and see what happens. Now, our next match is the AEW Championship in a street fight, John Moxley versus Cope. I have to say, you guys saw what the fudge happened, right? When Cope brought the spike. Now, I don't know how you guys would feel about this, because I know there'll be people pissed off about the fact, is this really necessary? I mean, yeah, I mean, I get it, guys. Some things don't like it. I mean, but it's crazy. I mean, you saw what happened to Moxley. He ended up getting spiked in the back by being on a suplex, and the spike was attached on his back. I'm like, holy shizme. What the hell? I never seen anything like that. I'm sure many of you thought the same thing. Even Wheeler Yuta tried to remove it. But out of nowhere, effing Death Riders showed up, trying to get back on track to ensure that this belt remained where it's supposed to be. And of course, FTR showed up, Marina Shafir showed up, and Willow Not Gill too. So basically, it became a hell of a time. But unfortunately, Cope was unsuccessful in gaining the belt until he ended up on a and a bulldog choke, and just like that, it was over. However, during the post match, everybody were giving the standing ovation to Cope, even though he tried so hard. But Dax Harwood, for whatever reason, he just shoved Cope, and of course, it's like, what the hell is going on? I'm sure Cash Wheel is gonna find out what the hell is going on here. So we'll see. Now, Renee Paquette talked to Bandito. As you all know, we saw what happened at 0 Hour during Revolution, where Bandito had to watch his own brother being unmasked, and of course, humiliating, and his family being humiliated by Jericho. Bandito is not the one to forgive, and he said that he will get even with them for what he did. And then Johnny TV decided to get in his face, trying to make him feel bad, but too bad. Bandito's not going to back down from anybody, especially to Johnny TV. So we'll see what happens. Now, Will Ospreay, as you know, makes his presence known to take on AR Fox. Now, he also mentioned that he wants to enter the Owen Hart tournament. However, no official inquiries who will be entering. We know what's his name, MJF wants to join. Well, Will Ospreay was the one who put his name on the hat. So we'll see what happens. But however, he faces against AR Fox, a very talented wrestler. But there was an interesting moment where AR Fox messed up, and then Will Ospreay applied the hidden blade, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, Renee Paquette talked to Hangman Page about, as you know, Swerve Strickland has an opportunity at Dynasty for the belt. However, Hangman swore that he was never going to let Swerve win it. But however, he decided to go to a different approach. He decided, well, I've been chasing him for far too long, so it's time for me to do something that he would never do. And that is, of course, much like what Will Ospreay and MJF said, he's put his name also on the hat to enter the Owen Hart tournament. So that's his approach. But he did give a steer warning to anybody who stands in his way. That includes MJF and Will Ospreay. So we'll see what happens. Now, Toni Storm makes her way to the ring because she is commentary on the main event featuring Mega Bane and Chris Brooks. Of course, Mega Bane has been making headways, you know, putting the entire AEW women's locker room on notice. Of course, attacking Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, and all that. But however, as always, Mega Bane has an ally, and that is penalty before costing the match to Chris Statlander until Mega Bane applied the Fate Descent. And then, of course, much like what we saw with Thunder Rosa, Mega Bane was intending to make another hurt business towards Chris Statlander, but luckily Toni Storm had enough. So she decided to have it ended up into a brawl, and then we were able to separate them both. So she told her that she has a date with Dynasty. So that means there's going to be a match between those two, and I'm assuming that this is for the AEW World Women's Championship. So most likely we could see that at Dynasty. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So for right now, we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with upcoming events with the promotions. Let's start with Prestige Wrestling updates. As you know, we have two upcoming events in the month of April. The first one is Roseland 11 that will take place on the 12th of April. They announced a dog collar death match between Elliot Tyler and Drells. And then, as you know, later on the 17th of April in Las Vegas, Nothing to Lose, they announced the tag team Sinner and Saint, Judas Ikra and Travis Willing will take on Lyco's Gym, Lyco's Kid 1 and Lyco's Kid 2. So that's going to be an interesting match. Now, on to GCW updates. As you know, they will be in Las Vegas on the 17th of April. For Vegas Vacation, they announced the Great Sakuya, the of course, Great Muda's daughter will be making her presence known, and she'll be taking on Johnny Robbie. And then finally, of course, on the 30th of May, when the lights go down in the city, they announced Maggie Lee will be participating. Now on to House of Glory updates here as well. So we have two things happening. As you know, they have an upcoming event on the 25th of April called Isolation, and they just announced the Alpha, Konosuke Takeshita, will be participating. And then a month later, on the 9th of May, Raging War, they just announced former WWE superstar who was just recently released, Cedric Alexander, making his first time appearance at the promotions. So that's a real fun one. Now, on to the other parts of the upcoming events. As you know, Wrestling Revolver has their GOATed event on March 22nd. Three matches have been announced. There is the Remix Championship. Cross Jackson will defend his championship against Trey Miguel. Then there's going to be a sudden death. Whoever walks away as the winner will be facing the winner of the Remix Championship. We have AJ Francis versus BDE versus Jeffrey John versus Junie Underwood versus Big Pound versus Dark Pledge. So, as I said, one of these six men will walk out as the winner of the challenge for the Remix Championship. Then we have, of course, Dante Leon and JJ Garrett taking on Tie or Die. Now, I don't know who the hell these guys are, but yeah. Now, as you know, we have the Battle Riot event, Battle Riot 7, taking place on the 5th of April in LA by MLW. They just announced the man, the myth, the legend, Blue Panther enters the Battle Riot. Now, as you probably know, Deadlock Pro Wrestling makes their return back to Japan for a 2-day event called, they finally named the show Spirit Rising. The first night will be on the 24th of April in Shinjuku Face, and then night 2 on the 25th of April is going to be in Shinkiba First Ring. Now, Kitsune Women's Wrestling has announced 2 more names, but however, here's the thing. As you know, on June 7th, they will be here in San Diego, California, having a show, and the following day, they'll make the way north to LA for next show over there. However, 2 names have been announced. We have London Dior, She'll be in both shows, in the San Diego show and the LA show. However, Kitsune will be making her presence known on the LA show. So just put it out there. And then finally, German promotion WXW has announced the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix, a 3-day event from September on the 26th through the 28th. They just announced legit Layla Hirsch will be participating. That's right, folks. Recently been released by AEW. Well, she goes back to Germany, and that's where she's going to have a very interesting time. So hopefully we get to see it. Now, on to some developments. Many of you may have heard about what happened. Those who know this, I live right across from Tijuana, Mexico. Alberto Del Rio, former WWE superstar, well, he ended up being suspended for 6 months for something that happened. Apparently, he went to a crowd and threw chairs, and in the crossfire, an elderly woman ended up hospitalized for injuries. Apparently, the Tijuana Wrestling Commission did not take this kindly, so they banned Alberto Del Rio for 6 months from ever wrestling in Tijuana. So basically, anybody who is from Tijuana or people who live in San Diego but they like to go to Tijuana, well, he's not going to be making an appearance anytime soon for the next 6 months. So yeah. Now, during a press conference, Hiroshi Tanahashi has announced that he'll be holding a produced show in the Dolphin Arena in Nagoya on the 29th of June. So, no new information has been added, but I'll stick close to this. Um, as you all know, Sting will be participating in Las Vegas at WrestleCon. However, he will be making appearances in two different ways. One, on the 19th of April, he'll be wearing the red paint. That's right, Wolfpack, folks. That's right, Wolfpack Sting will be there as well. And then later, on the 20th of April, he goes back to his usual black and white outlook. So that's pretty cool to hear. Now, some interesting news. Now, I don't know if I have any subscribers who are from South Korea. Well, guess what? Stardom will be airing their shows starting on March 22nd. So basically, if you guys are big fans of Stardom in South Korea, well, this is your chance. So let's keep moving forward. All right. Many of you may have heard this, that Homicide has announced that he'll be retiring. Now, some of you may question, what was the main reason? Well, this is what was the real reason why. Apparently, he said he's been dealing with cyst, like these things I saw on that goes into your brain, and apparently, it's causing he has cysts in his brain, but it also is causing him for his speech and vision. So it's understandable that he cannot continue while he's in that state. And who knows? I don't know for sure if he'll have surgery or anything, or he hasn't said anything what's the plan afterwards. But yeah, we'll see. Now, as you all know, Lex Lugar has been announced that he'll be going to the WWE Hall of Fame. However, many of you question, is Sting going to be the one to induct him? It seems like it's the case, but Fightful Select kind of reports something about that. Let me pull it up right now. Here it is. This is what they said. WWE was planning to make an overtures if they haven't already, about having Sting induct Lex Luger into the WWE Hall of Fame. Luger and those close to him did inform WWE that Sting was preferred choice to induct him. It's worth noting that Sting had told people he probably won't be able to do it because of his AEW deal. Now, yes, I mean, I get it. That's a very complicated thing. But I'm sure Tony Khan will definitely make an exception for Sting, because Sting and Lex Luger go way back. You know, they were real close friends and all that stuff. So I would definitely say Tony Khan will take this consideration. Oh, this is his friend. Not to mention, Luger was there on his final match last year. So I'm sure that's going to happen. Now, as you all know, Mike Bailey has been made his presence known already in AEW, and this is what he said at the Bleacher Report. It was time for me to step up to make it to the big leagues, and AEW is where the best wrestle. In my opinion, it's where I belong. Right now, AEW is my focus. It is where I want to be, and it's also where I want to wrestle. But wrestling for New Japan and CML is going to be close places to represent AEW. That would be a huge honor. So yeah, he made a choice because he knows he can go to Japan and Mexico to wrestle. So basically, he can use AEW as a way to, okay, I want to go to Mexico, I want to go to New Japan, that sort of thing. So that's exactly what his focus are, and he's very focused, guys. He's very dedicated for what he does. So I'm sure he'll give us some great moments in this. So I can't wait to see it. So I think that's pretty much it for everything else for our reviews and our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. First things first, before I proceed, I want to apologize to all of you because I made a big doo doo. Now, I'm not talking about me going in the bathroom. I'm talking about I made a mistake. And for that, yeah, I forgot about WWE Evolution. Dumb effing me. Dumb effing me. Yes, I screwed up. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably going to say, what's the excuse? Simple. I kind of was worried I forgot about it. I think I better start making reminders on my notes like ahead of time. So I think that's the approach for me. So we'll see. I mean, I really messed up. But I may most likely put, of course, the next episode featuring WWE Evolve because I know I got TNA and Ring of Honor, but also New Japan as well as we conclude the New Japan Cup. So we'll see how about that. So let's go from there. So the plan is WWE Evolution, New Japan, no WWE Evolved, New Japan, TNA, and of course Ring of Honor. So we'll go from there. So as of right now, we'll leave things as it is, and I'll say this that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.